Just realized that my mic's not on. That's always fun. So we're gonna do this again. You ready? Let's do this. Oops, nope. Count down. Okay, we're at 0 and banner. There we go. What's up, traders? Blue chips. How you guys doing? Tonight we are going to go. I got 5 points. We're going to be going over how to trade during the summer volume. Hope you guys are ready. This is going to be fun. This microphone thing is kind of annoying, but maybe we'll figure it out as we go. So let's get to it. All right, now you guys can hear me. So what is going on? If you guys want to just go over my trade real quick for the day, we traded EXEL. That's what we see here up on the chart. It's EXEL. Maybe if I just hover over this guy, and there you can see it down the bottom, EXEL. This is just the setup I use. It's just a lot easier to see everything. I guess for all intents and purposes, I could just do that. And yeah, so this thing popped up on the scanner, and it was right here. It felt pretty extended when it popped through 2050. It kind of felt like it was done. It hit like 2060, I want to say, and it started coming back down. So we took an entry, 2055. Pretty much immediately once we got in, it popped right all the way up to here. It actually went to 70 something. So we just added right away. It was pretty instant. And it just decided to keep climbing all in this 2-minute candle. So we decided to add one more time. It ended up having an average of 2074, I think it was. Put some shares out there to take half our position off down here at 2070. Got the fill. Rubber banded right back up to high a day. We decided to add to our position because, again, it didn't consolidate and then go high a day. It just shot right back up on a nice quick move. So we added there, came back down, took half off again. And when we came, I don't even remember exactly what we were doing. We were like looking at our other screen, paying attention to some other stocks because I have 4 charts up on my other screen now. And I think I just kind of got, focused, I guess, on that screen. And over the course of like 4 or 5 minutes, it started to just kind of climb back up. And I didn't really notice it till it was right around here. And I was like, well, crap. And I was like, well, let's see what it does at the 21 test again. Because as you can see, it was kind of using that as a resistance. It never went through. So I was like, okay, let's see if it rejects again and maybe we'll get a nice fade off, this type of move. And sure enough, she broke through. And I figured if she did break through, as you heard in my video, if you listened to it, I figured it would make a nice big move if it broke through. So we're like, our plan was either to hopefully reject 21 and look for the fade, or look for the big pop through 21. Since we missed our cover down in this area watching it climb, that kind of turned into our plan. So we followed our plan. We got the pop. We felt the top pretty well. We covered out these shares because it kind of felt like she was done. As you can see, she did come back up a little bit. So this was a little bit of risk management just in case she decided to keep going. She didn't. She tried, and then she faded off, and we took, this was 200 shares. We added 200 shares back, so we had 200 shares again. We took 100 off here, and as you can see, that was a pretty good idea. Decided to climb, and she kind of double topped, but we used 21 as you can see. It was 1, 2, and then this was actually the fourth time, because on this candle she tried 2, got rejected, came back up the fourth time. We just told ourselves if it got through 21, we were just going to take it because it would most likely continue, and sure enough it did. And it squeezed up, but she did ultimately kind of double top here, and she finally gave us the flush that we were looking for all along, kind of a laugh in the face, and then did what we thought it was going to do. But if you notice from last week that I really started to notice while I was in the trade that this started to look just like all the grinders that I used to trade. So now imagine that this didn't dump like this, to kind of say, ha ha. Look at kind of this. I mean, I guess you can put it here, but it was pretty much one of them just grinders, like an all-day grinder. And look at the end of the day, that thing kind of started to pick back up. But yeah, so I don't think this was actually a really good trade. We turned this into a green trade. It was actually a pretty green trade all the way through. We let it go red on us here when we should have been out, and once we got this add in and took our risk off here and got these shares out, I mean, it was a green trade for us. It was just a matter of how green, because we kept these 100 shares looking for this thing to really fade down here to like 2050. Obviously we would have got out on this type of flush, but if it would have never made this move, it might have came down a little bit further, but neither here nor there. That was my trade from today. So let me catch up. What's up, Thomas? What's up, Jonathan? What's up, Double D? Hope you guys had a great day. I know Thomas and Double D, you guys did well today. Thomas, what happened with the broker? Did get any good news there? Oh, yes. Discord channel. I believe everyone in here so far has joined the Discord channel. If not, thank you, Jonathan, for the reminder, by the way. Yeah, I turned my mic off to clear my throat real quick, and then sure enough, right when I went to go live, I totally forgot about it. One business day to do the release of that's crap. That's such crap. It's like, why just give me my money, or give me my account. So anyways, throughout the stream, guys, as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Always willing to answer. Let's get started. Let me pull this up real quick. This is going to go right into my first subject. I found this picture. It's obviously an older picture, but the first topic that I have is over trading. So as you can see, I really hope that no one ends up with a chart like this, especially in the summertime. This chart is just a mess. I mean, obviously, you can see that they started short here. It looks like they might have covered, I don't know. Well, I guess maybe they covered some here and then stopped out the rest. And then I honestly can't tell. I mean, obviously they stopped out on both of these and then they started getting back in. And I mean, this is just bonkers. But yeah, let me finish just this first topic, Thomas, and then I'll get to that. But yeah, I have some things written down here, so I just I'll read over it, and then we can go off on a little bit of a tangent if we want. But the idea is to, in the summer months, you tend to want to trade because everything's a little bit slower. You don't see your setups as much, and you're like, oh, screw this, I want to trade. And it tends to make you want to overtrade, just because you're not finding your setups that make you the money. So if you might lose a little bit of money, then you want to trade to get it back. Or if you make a trade and it doesn't give you the money that you're used to, then you tend to overtrade on another stock that you wouldn't typically trade the setup that it's giving you. So the overall objective here for number one is to resist the overtrading. And what I have written down is most traders want to make money every trading day, obviously, especially us day traders, but you cannot make money if the setups you have an edge on aren't there. You have to know when it's time to fold and sit on your hands. So basically something like this. I mean, this actually wasn't a bad setup per se. I'm not exactly sure what was going on here. The volume was there. I mean, obviously we know that ELTK is a microfloat, so it's capable of these moves, and that's why I don't play these. But you tend to overtrade in the summer months because of what I already said. So it's really not anything that you have to really dive into as far as, mythology behind it. It's just as simple as don't do it. Don't catch yourself before you start to make trades that you wouldn't actually take if the market was hot. If the market is not giving you your edge, then sit on your hands. Don't trade. As you could tell, it's been a little slow for me these last 2 weeks. And it's just because I look for these big volatile moves just to the upside. There's actually been a lot of moves, especially with the way that the market overall has been reacting, that like with the SPY and everything kind of fallen, there's been a lot of big moves to the downside, and that's just not my edge. And I haven't been trading those lately. Thomas kills those things day in and day out. But, I look for these big moves up like these. And honestly, this was really the only one that I even really saw today. I think there was PSTV, but this was like a super low float. And as you can see, even with this one, it was kind of a grinder. And then even on this big move up, there was really only this candle right here where I feel like that was a nice extension. And then these kind of grinded up. Then you got your big wash. But I mean, again, these low floaters, they can kind of just do whatever they want at any given moment. They get halted all the time, et cetera, et cetera. So resist over trading. That's number one. So Thomas asked a question. Can you explain the issue you're having getting out of your position in CMEG? Something about waiting for the bid or the ask. And yes, it is very annoying. And I've called CMEG, and they did this on SureTrader too. Basically, my understanding just through, I actually looked it up after when I had some time while I was eating dinner tonight. Basically, you're buying the spread, essentially. So, of course, let me just pull up real quick. Oops. Turn the sound on. All right. So, just to show you guys what Thomas is talking about, I don't remember exactly where it happened, but just for instance, let's say I have an order to cover some shares at $20.92. Well, what's happening is my order is coming down, or my order's at $20.92. Well, the bid could go down to $20.50 for all intents and purposes, and for what you know what I'm trying to say. But until this ask comes down and fills an order at 92, I won't get filled. So to me, it just absolutely sucks because the whole point of putting the liquidity out there so you can get the best fill on the right side of it, right? So if you're putting an order at below the bid, the idea is when the bid comes down to that price and goes through, you should get filled at your order price. But basically what's happening with these offshore brokers, because it did it to me on SureTrader as well, is when I am sitting at 92 in this example, I would have to wait for the ask to come down and hit a price at 92. It would have to not only come down to 92, but then an actual order would have to get filled at 92 for me to get out, because I'm pretty sure everything that they're doing is internal. They're not actually sending your orders to the market, I'm assuming, not at this share size. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating. You're basically buying the spread, and what I mean by that is essentially if you won out at 92, you're basically buying a 2-cent spread because you're waiting for this ask to come down to 92. So you're basically kind of getting screwed every single time that you put an order in. I have seen times where I've been on the bid and I've gotten filled without the ask ever coming down through. So I'm not sure if in those cases that they were orders that were sent to the market, and that's why it worked correctly. So I'm not absolutely positive. And there is one other thing that I will tell you about CMEG that is better than SureTrader, is that, like, say for instance this was a 10-cent spread. Say the bid was at 82 and the ask was at 94, so a 12-cent spread. If I were to hit my short bid button and the last filled price was, say, 88 or even like 90, it would actually it gives you that price. Whereas with SureTrader, whatever the bid was, they would just take that, and then I'm assuming on their end, whatever the last price is what they actually get. So they're banking that difference, if that makes sense. So that's another thing that CMEG is good for that SureTrader screws you over. And that can add up over the course of time, even if it's like 1 or 2 cents. Yeah, Thomas, I do think the route does have something to do with it. And I'm just not that far into my journey personally to really worry about that kind of stuff. Or let alone even know where to begin looking for that kind of stuff. So honestly, because that's kind of what B was telling me, is that if you can throw an order out there, but if there's nobody on that route looking to fill the same amount of order at the same price, you just get skipped. So, but it's just weird that no matter what, and what I'm saying is, wherever I would get filled as that ask comes down through is when CMEG is then getting their fill on the bid per se. So they're getting whatever the difference is there. So you get filled, they get their shares filled on the bid. So if it's like a 30-cent spread, they're making 30 cents a share on you right there, and it's kind of annoying. But that's all brokers apparently do that. Not all brokers do that, but all offshore brokers that I know of have been doing that for as long as it's, again, it's keeping the small accounts small is basically what they're after. Welcome, Vincenzo. Albie, what's up, Albert? I have not talked to you live in a while. Yes, Vincenzo, we are taking questions. Ask away. I'm going to answer questions as well as just kind of fly through my 5 points because they're not very long. I wasn't really planning on this stream being absolutely too long, just based off of my points not being that crazy. But yeah, Thomas, I do believe B explained it really well the other day. So, like, essentially, say I'm on Route A for 100 shares and everyone else is on Route B and all the orders start going through. Basically, they're going to be filling each other on Route B while I'm sitting on Route A like, hey, guys, can somebody fill me over here? And you just never get filled. So... CRCT's asking the question, what do you look for when selecting a stock? Do you stay with stocks under 100? I have traded like 1 or 2 stocks that were over 100. Really all I look for is the intense move. I'm looking for intensity, volatility, but I'm looking for them on stocks that have a float usually higher than like 30 million. Anything under 30 million, I start to get a little bit weary. 25 to 30, I might still play just in that general area, but anything under 20, I'm most likely not touching at all. And I'm looking for big moves on volume, just like this. I happened to start this one a little bit early. If my first entry was here, and I would have got my ad in here, this would have been a lot better of a trade, obviously. But, that's why we have strategies and we have a plan for our strategies. And, I followed my plan until here. I kind of got a little distracted here, but once I realized what was going on and I didn't follow my plan, I made a new plan instantly based off of me missing. So this was kind of one of those, what I always talk about, You should never be in a position where you don't know what you're going to do. So you should always know the what ifs of your strategy if something happens. So everything worked out. This happened. I've planned for this. I planned for this, and I didn't plan for this. This wasn't part of the strategy, but I do have a what if in the back of my head, right as it was happening. Okay, hopefully we reject here, we fade off. If not, we're going to look for the big pop. So you need to kind of understand what's going on. Like if this would have just slowly broke over 21, like 3 or 4 cents, and then just started climbing, this is a completely different scenario. Then we're going to probably end up just stopping out once we realize it's not coming back under 21. Instead of looking for the big ad because it was on a big intense move. So really my scanners are actually set. I'll just show you real quick. Plus I just loaded these up, so they're going to be the same, but I can change this one. So I usually have 20 to 80. Usually 80 is as high as I go, just to be safe with buying power. I don't really like to go over that anyway, just because the spreads usually get a little bit out of hand. And then I have $2 to $20 on the smaller one. So $80, I guess, to answer your question, as high as I go. But really all I'm doing is just looking for these big intense moves, and I just use the scanners. I haven't made or looked at making a watch list in months. So what if I'm scared when hitting the bid and it doesn't get filled and it goes the other way? Should I buy more? If I'm scared when hitting the bid, is this as if you're already in the trade? And then if it goes the other way, you wouldn't be buying more. I'm confused. I think you meant like you would be to short more? Stop loss. What's a stop loss? Just kidding. What if my baby wants to go to the bathroom when I have an open position short? Should I close it or risk it and go to the bathroom and come back and it went to the moon? You're a class A dick, Albert. He's talking about OCX. This was actually right before I started trading with. You can always tell when I first started with ISW by looking for this candle on OCX. So January 29th. So I'm pretty sure it was like February 1st is when I started with ISW. And February 8th is when I first started trading the strategy that I'm trading now. Dick, such a dick. Anybody that doesn't know that story, the quick version is I made a mistake and got in 500 shares in the pre-market. But it started working in my favor, and then we got a pop at the bell, so I added 500 shares, and it started working for me instantly, and it looked like it was like going for like 5 or 6 minutes. It was kind of grinding its way down. I was actually up like $200, and it looked like it was trying to break a key support level, and my son was nagging me. He's like, bathroom, potty, pee, gotta go, and I'm like, ah. Right then and there, I should have exited the position, took my $200 bought. But I was like, you know what? This thing's going to break. I'm looking for a home run trade. I haven't had one in a while. I was eager to get a big trade. And sure enough, came back and I went from up $200 to down $1,300, and the stock was halted. Yeah. And it was like 4.5 minutes. Ouch. But yeah. All right. Riddle me this, Batman. What belongs to you by is used by everyone else? What belongs to you but is used by everyone else? That's a good question. Anybody else know the answer? Mr. K, welcome first off, and that's part of my 5 steps to trading during the summer months. You know someone that did that. Are you talking about me, Thomas? Because yes, I am the one that did that. What do you recommend to people that panic during trading? First off, that's actually a really great question. I really recommend, because, it was really hard for me at first. One of the best quotes that I ever heard was from Stan Glusman from 7 Points Capital. And don't quote me on this. I don't think it's word for word, but it's along the lines of, when the fear kicks in and you think that, like in this case, that you should be covering, the odds are you should probably be shorting more shares. Or say in reverse, say you got long on this dip and it just absolutely plummets down like this on a really big intense move. Instead of being fearful of selling out, you should actually be looking to add to your position, because it was such an intense move down. And then that kind of leads into the other thing, is that the quicker the move, the weaker the trend. So, I mean, how many times do you see huge moves like this and then it just rubber bands back down? How many times do you just see huge moves like this down and then it rubber bands right back up? It happens all the time because, again, the stronger the move, the weaker the trend. Well, Albert, yeah, that one's hard to forget. But yeah, my record keeping I've been pretty on point with it. You can see OCX right here. That's what this was. This nice big, I was making like a curve up, and as you can see, I was still trying to recover a little bit from here. I started coming up and I was like, all right, we're going to have a nice home run trade and we're going to really get it up there. And sure enough, kaplunk. And then my account was so low, I was like, all right, we need to do something. And then this is ISW. This was me learning ISW. I was still learning how to lose with ISW, didn't really know how. And then we started to really do well. I think we had like 28 winning trades in a row. And of course, like right around here, I started to up my share size. And then we got into the positive overall. And then MTSI came along, and that was MTSI. And then at this point, just after commissions and everything, it doesn't look like much, but after commissions and everything, we were down a lot more. So we actually were really low in our account. So we were really not trading the way that we should be trading. So we actually took a month off, paper traded, earned some money on the side to get back in at the proper sizing. And as you can see from there, we came back, I believe it was, we skipped June, and then we came back July 1st. Took a little hit at the beginning, and then since then we've been kind of steady climbing. So we really learned within that month of paper trading kind of how to lose per se, how to really find the holes in the strategy, as well as really just kind of fix a bunch of problems we had. So like a lot of these like $2 winners, $7 winners, $1.50 winners, $7 winners, a lot of those would have been losers in the past, but we really figured out how to kind of help our game, and we're getting there. Those aren't big winners, but they all are green and they add up, right? As you can see, over time they might not look big, but they add up, and as we start to scale up, they'll get bigger and bigger. So I'm not really worried about the numbers per se, more so than just the consistency. So that's kind of what we're worried about. Yeah, Albert, that just was not fun. Just not fun at all. I did not like that OCX trade. I think that was like $1,200 loss. Yeah, $1,250, and that wasn't even including the commissions. The commissions were just horrible from holding it overnight. Ugh, so bad. But yeah, I know February 8th on CLF was when I started trading this strategy. So if we pull up everything just from there, I'm 91-10. So I'm a little over 90%. But that one big loss there on MTSI still has us in the negative overall. So it is what it is. But if we look at, let's just go back from July 1st. Let's do July 1st to kind of give since the big loss and really that month off. Let's see how we've done since then. So we're actually 41-3. So we're a little over 93%, and our return is around $600, and after commissions, $456. So that's a lot better, a lot better. Our biggest loser is only $107, which is awesome. We do need to get our average winner up a little bit more, but again, these summer months, they're a little bit tougher. So considering it's the summer months and, we're still doing pretty well. I mean, look, compared to the S&P right now, we're doing really well. So up 6.44%. S&P is actually down almost 4%. So can't complain about that. Options? No, we don't trade. I don't trade options. I never have, never will. I looked into them when I first started, and they're not for me. I just don't like the idea behind them. Just reminds me too much of gambling. All right, so let's get to point number 2. We really got sidetracked there. I mean, yeah, I'll definitely answer your questions still, but let's get another point in here. So choppiness is number 2. A lot of times, and speaking, oh, jeez, almost spilled my drink. PSTV, this is kind of the perfect example. Yeah, it had some big moves, but it was very choppy. And the chop here is absolutely ridiculous as far as, especially with a low floater, just the amount of range this thing had. So it was from basically $10 all the way up to $13 was kind of the range. And, this is chop. It is just going sideways. There's no like defined up pattern. There's no defined down pattern. So yeah, don't get caught in this. It's so hard to trade. It just, especially like, as you can see, it's on low volume. So you don't really know at any point in time when that little spike of volume comes in, like which way it's going to go, especially on these lower floats. So what I have written down is another common characteristic of summer trading is choppy trends. It is not uncommon to see range-bound trading during the summer months. You usually can find a few trending names every day. Trending, as you can see, this is trending up, even though it had the one big wash. But it is very important to not get stuck fighting range-bound stocks. Things typically get especially choppy after 10:30, which is when liquidity starts to dry up. Let's see, 10:30. That was right after it made its big move. And then look at this. From pretty much 10:45 all the way till pretty much right before the close. So like 3 o'clock. So it's, again, and look at the volume, just pretty much completely dried up. Just don't get stuck in the choppiness. And that kind of leads into my next point real quick, which is low liquidity. During summer months, the liquidity is a lot lower. With many, and here's what I've written down, with many market traders on vacation throughout the summer, liquidity will often dry up throughout the stock market. This can result in choppy price action and a lot of failed follow-through on certain setups. After the market open, the volume can sometimes really dry up in the afternoon trading. Make sure to not get stuck in these big positions during these times. So, and that basically leads into number 4, which is what somebody who brought that up earlier. I think it was Vincenzo, maybe. Oh no, it was Mr. K. All the liquidity, look at all this volume at the beginning of the day, even on my trade Excel today, look at the volume. That was pretty much the only time it was there was right before 10:30. I mean, look at 10:30. This thing just dies. I wish they had a vertical. Do they have vertical? Yeah, they do. Sweet. I think you can actually even do that down here too. Yeah. Oops. Get over here. Doesn't want to, what the, oh, whatever. You get the idea. But yeah, right after 10:30, just look at this volume pretty much die. And that's kind of why we probably got this flush after it tried again, is people realized, okay, this thing isn't going to keep going up just yet. So all the people that were left over here, all the bulls, they're like, okay, we need to get out. And then again, this is that panic selling. So if I was actually paying attention to this, I probably wouldn't have traded. I just don't like taking long positions. It's just not in me, especially in the summer months after 10:30. This thing could have very well just kind of kept fading off for the rest of the day. But that's the beauty of the market. Nobody knows what it's going to do. Which leads me into number 4. I just have this written down as nail and bail. Basically, all you're going to do is just look to get in and get out. Take your money and run. And if you happen to take a loser, sometimes you just got to deal with it. Trying to get back in later in the day with setups that are not your edge, you're just going to end up giving more back. So, yeah, you got to stay away from stuff like that. And that leads me into number 5. You just got to have patience for the right opportunities. And what I've written down here is, since opportunities are often scarce during the summer months, it becomes even more essential that you capitalize on the opportunities that do appear. The ones that fit your edge, you really have to take advantage of those, because you're only probably going to get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of them a day. So the odds are you're not going to see all 4 of them unless you're absolutely perfect every day. I mean, that's the idea. But sometimes you might only come across one that really kind of fits your edge and gives you that A+ setup that you're looking for, and you just have to capitalize on it. I think, what was the other one that everyone traded this morning? Do you remember, Thomas? I think it was no, that was yesterday. Never mind. It was like NTAP or something. That was yesterday. But yeah, so in order to be in a position to capitalize on your best opportunities during the summer trading, you just have to have patience. You have to not, and if you look at this trade took place, this was closer to the bell. But I think earlier in the week, I wasn't really getting anything until like 10 o'clock. The open was really kind of slow for my edge. And I wasn't really finding anything. A lot of the trades I took didn't end up developing until around like 10 o'clock. And but that's the other thing, is you'll see me. It's very rare that you'll see me in a trade for longer than 10, 15 minutes at the max. But yeah, that's my 5 points right there on how to trade summer volume. Resist over trading. The summer trading choppiness. You have to take account for the low liquidity. There's nothing wrong with nailing and bailing, scalping, whatever you want to call it. And then you just have to have patience for the right opportunities. And so I actually had wrote a little bit of a summary. I just said summer trading isn't always going to be bad. There's going to be days where you're like, holy crap, like last week, the low floaters really picked up, but that was kind of all that picked up was a low floater. So if you don't play the low floaters, it was kind of, pretty dry last week. But there are going to be those opportunities. And that's the thing, is you just have to be patient. You have to wait for those opportunities. You have to wait for the ones that that you have that 90+% chance to win. And those are the ones. And like Thomas said, losing is part of the plan, but for the most, it just is hard to accept the loss and move on. You have to know how to lose. You have to accept your losses, because you always, I think I was telling somebody in the chat today that you have to be able to recognize that you're in a loser. You have to manage that loser, try to make it as small as possible. And then on top of that, you have to remember that's part of the 10%. That trade that you're in is part of the 10%. You are going to go trade again, and you're going to hopefully find, the other 9 out of 10 in the next 10 trades. Like, obviously it's never going to work out perfectly like that. There's going to be times where you have 20 in a row, and there's going to be times where you lose 3, 4, 5 in a row. But you just have to, accept those, and you have to manage them properly and move forward. You always have to remember what you're really after is this curve to keep going up. You're going to have these little downhill, these little, plateaus and, little setbacks here and there. But if that's all it is, and your curve is just constantly going up, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Do not get your ego involved. Imagine that this trade did just kind of keep going like this. And, here, I'll just give you an example straight from here. go back to the stupid MTSI trade, the one that was a killer. Where's it at? There it is. So look at this chart. Basically, all I did was just fight this thing all day. I tried to just keep adding to get a higher average, looking for this thing to dump off. And what do you notice? It just never dumps off. And I remember countless times we'd get like these little pullback, like this little pullback, and I wasn't taking any off because look at where my ad was. So I wasn't getting enough. I was really wanting this thing to pull back to VWAP, and I just never got it. And then finally, I was in this thing for so long, and it just kept dipping down a little bit, going high a day, dipping down a little bit, going high a day, dipping down a little bit, going high a day. So finally I was like, I'm done. And then sure enough, that's when she hits high of day one last time and decides to fade off. So that's just how the market treats you. And all of the reason that happened is because I didn't manage my risk properly. This was $1,000, almost, was it $1,000? Yeah, $1,000 loss. When if I would have just played this properly, I shorted here, had no problem adding here. But once right where this cover candle is, I only covered half my position here. That should have been a full cover, move on, right? That would have been $100, $200 loss, if that. I don't even remember what it would have been. It would have probably been like 150, I want to say. Or even if it was 200, that's not 1,000, right? And at the time, I was scaled up a little bit because this was back when, if you look at this was as I was going up, I was positive. I was doing really well. I started scaling up a little bit. A $200 loss here, I still would have been above break even here. But instead, it put me in a position where I couldn't even trade properly because my account was so low that I couldn't even really take trades. So if I would have just managed my risk properly and got out of this trade instead of fighting it, letting my ego get to me, and just wanting to have a winning trade, then I'd be in a much different position right now. So always keep that in mind. Do not let your ego get the best of you. Always have a plan and follow your plan. Summer trading usually ends when school starts. So like September, end of August, September is usually when people start kind of the big fishies start coming back into play, bringing the volume back in. What dictates when to finish trading for the day? Is there a max loss that you have set? I don't necessarily have a max loss. I mean, I do, but it's very hard with my strategy because say for instance, this was my first entry, second entry, third entry. If this candle just keeps going straight up, and say my max loss was $100, just for an example, but say this candle just keeps going straight up, and as it keeps going straight up and it gets to like here, say I'm like negative $200, I'm not getting out of this trade because this thing just kept going straight up. I'm going to be smashing. If you have a max loss set at 100 and say you just started here, added here, and then by the time it got to right here, you're already at $100 and you're covering your position here. I mean, look at what happens. So with this strategy, it's really dependent on a couple factors. Right now, my max loss is set to 150. If I lose $150 on the day, I'm done. But it's very rare recently that I'm trading more than 2 or 3 stocks anyway. So usually once I get 2 or 3 stocks in, I kind of know where I'm at for the day, whether I'm green or red. And as you can see, it's very rare that I'm red, even though it's not, like big gains right now, but we're working on that. I actually tried to up my share size on this a little bit. I started with 100, where I had been starting with 50. But when I first pulled the chart up, it didn't look like the range was that crazy. Like, as you can see down here, it was only like in a 20-40 cent range. And on this pop, it was really, only like a 50 cent pop on what I thought was a really big move. And so I figured even if it did go up to 21, that's only another 50. So I figured if I got in for 100 shares, even if it went up to 21, that's only $50. So I had no problem accepting this move, 100, and then 200. And I was basically risking off that $21 area after it made this move. So that's why I took shares off, just in case she popped back up. She got up there to 21. We added back, looking for 21 to reject. It did. And then we took shares off again. And then again, we did not plan for this. It just kind of happened this way after the fact. But sometimes that's part of trading. You have to kind of roll with the punches. So yeah, I do have a max loss. If I were to have it come all the way up to here, like that hypothetical, and then say it only consolidated like right here and then try to go high of day, then yeah, you're taking a bigger loss than you wanted to, but it's something you have to accept. You have to say, okay, this got out of control. I have to take the loss. You can't just let it run. You can't just let it keep running. It's just like this. Like say you hit 200 on here. Like say you started down here and that example actually did happen here. She curls and decides to go higher. Like you should be cutting your position here at 21 and then you just kind of lick your wounds. So yeah. Now you have this gained knowledge. What advice would you give yourself if you could go back and tell yourself before you started trading? I would tell myself to find Intensity Stock Watch and do anything I could to get into the chat room and learn from the people in there. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a chat room. It's unlike any other chat room that you hear about. And this sounds very salesy, but it's so true. We're a group of guys that are there to help each other learn, and we all are our own individual person. It's not just one person, like a leader of the chat, kind of telling everybody what to do. It's really just a group of guys that have these amazing scanners. The scanners themselves are just amazing, but having the ability to be in the room, having the learning center, just everything. It teaches you a strategy that is going to always be there. Like this, people are always going to sell fear, and they're always going to buy euphoria. Like it's FOMO, right? Fear of missing out is always going to be there. You're always going to have kind of the new traders that are feeding into that. And right now, I found out that it's my job to figure out where that kind of runs out, which is usually the top of a big squeeze. Or if you're buying these dips, it's when they're done selling. So I really wish I could go back and just find what I found at the beginning of this year when I first started. It was since then, since I found ISW, it's been life-changing. I don't know where I would be if I didn't find them. I would probably still just be trying to trade support and resistance, which is not a bad thing. I have a friend, Devin, he's in the Discord. He trades support resistance and he's very good at it. The cool thing about, and I'll probably end up trading some support resistance in the future once I get my bankroll up there, but having a 90% win rate on something isn't something to shake your head at. So it's something that I'm not going to steer away from anytime soon. But just drawing support lines, like obvious support lines, like if we go back over to PSTV, like you saw this hit support, it was holding support here. And when you saw it come down and try to hit it again, didn't even get to it and get bought right back up. Like to me, that's almost like an obvious long, right? For someone that's playing support resistance. This resistance wasn't that great. And you can also tell too, it was a previous resistance being used as support. It's a very common setup, and that's kind of what you do. So you would basically, if you bought in here, say you got in right at 11 looking for the 11 break, or we'll just say 11. Basically, and this is obviously a big range, but you would be risking off this support, right? But the idea is when it came down on this one, if it tested again and got bought up, you'd be looking to get into that support line as close as possible. Same principle when shorting. So she came up here, tested this resistance line. This actually is what made the resistance line. And then she came up to test it again, didn't get through. So you try to get as close as you can to that resistance line, and you risk off of it. Support resistance trading. It's very simple. The risk is usually a lot lower, but the problem is it doesn't work as often. It's usually like a 55-45 type thing, because trying to get in really close to those levels, the odds are she could spike through, but you have to have hard stops in these scenarios. Either it works or it doesn't. It's that simple. So that's kind of, if I had to go back, that's what I would do. I would find ISW, I'd find this strategy, and it's really that simple. Thomas, man, he's lucky enough to really kind of start trading with this, and he's already killing it. And that's the other thing too, is if you don't know any different, you just happen to stumble upon the best thing. Unfortunately, he doesn't know, that there's other things out there to trade, but again, the stats don't lie. Hello, Tim. Can I advertise my products on here while you are helping people? Sound? Can you not hear me? You can if you want. I don't know what you're going to advertise. Hopefully it's safe for work. What is that? I can donate in CRCT. I can't? Awesome streaming. Well, that would be pretty cool. You should work on that, Jonathan. Get in contact with Streamlabs. Tell them you want to bring the option to donate in crypto. Speaking of crypto, I tweeted it out earlier, real quick to give them a nice little plug. If you are interested, it's completely free. All you have to do is go to Circuit's website, download the wallet. I know, I saw that. I was actually just looking at it. Getting that buyer wall stepping up. So you go to their website, come over here, getting started, download the wallet. This is all completely free. And then you go to the CRCT faucet. Now, within this faucet, all you do is within your wallet, you find your receive address. You would put it in. I guess, yeah, if you guys want to send me anything, that's mine right there. And then in the promo code, and this is case sensitive, put volatility trading, all caps, and then hit I'm not a robot, and then hit your claim Circuit now. You'll actually get free 500 Circuit plus whatever the faucet payout gives you. It'll be between 15 and 50. So a Circuit coin for dummies. It's as easy as it gets. You just have to literally download the wallet, get your address, put it in here, put this in, hit it, and bam, you're getting up to 550 CRCT right off the bat. And if you really wanted to, you could take it right over to the exchange. And right now, I don't even know how to do the math. Let's see. 5, so 4, or it would be 3. So it would be 1,500 Satoshis. So it'd be, right now, it'd be 15 cents. It's free 15 cents. But it's it gets you started. You could turn around and try to sell it for less. Oh, I didn't mean to close that out. There's lots of things you can do with it. It all adds up. Crypto is definitely going somewhere. And Jonathan, man, he is dedicated to this project, and he is not going anywhere. Wait, what just happened? Oh, I didn't even hit refresh. So there's actually, people are buying up at 5 today. It's up to 6 Satoshi. Nice. Nice. I'm getting messaged on Steam. So yeah, what was the question? Can you explain your strategy in detail? I can. Yeah, Bitcoin started at 0.006. That's very true. If private lessons on learning crypto. Seriously, you want to come join the Discord, find Lone Wolf Day Trading within the Discord, and he will talk your ear off about crypto. Anything you want to know. He's the Google version of crypto. Like, if you need to Google anything, don't worry about it. Just ask Jonathan. He'll know. So to answer Boydstat, can you explain your strategy in detail? Sure. It's actually fairly simple. Let me just pull up my trade from today. All right. So I'm going to show you my entry first, just to show you how quick it happened. Well, the first two anyway. So, okay. So as you can see, I'm looking for really quick moves on volume. I'm basically getting all my moves right off the scanner. I had already pulled PAGS up. The spread on that thing was like 40, 50 cents almost at any given time. Cent, I can't short, and the float is 726,000, so I wasn't interested. NVAX couldn't short, 23 million in the float, wasn't interested. V-Ray I could short, but this it wasn't making the type of move I was really looking for. It was more of a grinder, and it wasn't really up that much. It wasn't like super extended. So I was basically going through all these. You'll see as well that I only really trade stocks that are up on the day, that like ones that are going high of day, and that like pretty much all the time. So it kind of left me with Excel. Like there was nothing else happening. I pulled this chart up and I was immediately interested just seeing the nice move. It went from 20 all the way up to 2050. I looked back to the left a little bit and noticed that, the range wasn't that big. It was like 20, 30 cents. So a 50-cent move was pretty big. And I looked down at the daily as well and just saw that there was just tons of resistance. And I saw right here at 21 was the 200-day moving average, as well as you can see it topped out a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like 21 was a pretty big, there's like a gnat flying around in front of my face. But there was a bunch of times that 21 topped out. So I immediately was like, okay, well, I can get in now, assuming that the move might be done, and look to kind of get VWAP, maybe even more, with a 100 share starter. Well, right as I get in, as you see, this thing absolutely just flies up against me. So right away, I add to my position right there, because this is what we're looking for. These moves where they move really quick are exactly what we're looking for. Because if you were here earlier, you heard me say that the stronger the move, the weaker the trend. So the quicker the move we get, the odds are the quicker the move down, pretty much right after. Because what's going to happen is you're going to run up. It's almost like, say you're in a room and you're just kind of jumping, or you got rocket boosters on, right? And you're just going up and up and up and up. Well, eventually you're going to run out of room, right? You're going to hit a ceiling. Well, basically what that ceiling is when there's no more buyers. So all the buyers are buying, FOMO. And then boom, you just kind of run out of buyers. And when that happens, if there's no one else to buy to push you up even further, where's it going to go? People are going to start to realize, okay, no one else is buying, I'm going to sell. And then once everyone starts selling because they're like, crap, there's no one's buying, so we're all just going to sell. And then on top of that, you have the people that are shorting. So it kind of drives the price right back down. Now, that's when you have, if the stock is strong and there's a reason for people to buy it, the people that just sold, or just new people that just brought the chart up a little bit late, they see this big move down, they're looking to buy the dip. But in this case, that's why you'll see that in most cases, I try to get out most of my position, if not all of my position, on that first move. So I usually look to just get in. And in this case, you'll see it still makes this move all in this one same candle. We're actually looking for this to hit 21. And that's the other part of my strategy is I try to do 1, 1, 2. That's the ratio. So if I start with 100 shares, I'll add 100 shares, and then I'll top it with 200 shares at the top on a nice quick move, because in that way you get your average way up, and you're basically adding the most shares at the most pivotal point to where you feel like the top is most likely. Because I mean, if the move were to keep going, you essentially would do it again, where you would add 400. because if it's all happening super fast like this, and again, this is not an add strategy. If this was happening over the course of like 5 to 10 minutes, that's not how it works. The only reason you would be adding like this is because it's all happening really fast. And I just happened to get in a little bit early on this one. But if you go back and watch all my previous videos on my channel, you'll see that I usually only get like the second add in and usually feel the top. But in this case, we had one more. And the reason I felt comfortable with this ad, I ended up getting 87 there. It just kind of felt like it was kind of done. And again, look at this big move. And we were basically kind of risking off 21 there. We wanted it to get to 21, but we also didn't want to miss our ad there, because if we go back, you'll see our average is at 62. So when we hit for 200 shares up top there, it brought our average all the way up to 74.5. So now we're brought our average way up. We're closer to where the price action is. So when we finally do get that reverse drop that we're looking for, hopefully we were near the top, and now we'll be in the green when it comes back down. So, because if you were to just add another 100 shares there, your average probably would have only been, I mean, I could do the math if I really wanted to. Actually, here, I'll just do the math real quick. So it would have been 20.55 plus 20.69 plus 20.87 divided by 3. So it would have been 4 cents lower. So essentially when it came back down, I was going to say 68.69, so I would have been close. When it starts to come back down, when we get out at 70 shares there, we would have been breaking even, if not a little bit red, trying to get that fill. But instead, we actually made some money. And essentially, again, if you were to do it again, it's just a way to get your average up there to really help out. And then as you can see, it comes down. We end up getting this fill, and we have a realized gain of $9 there. And we also reduced our risk in case she did exactly what she does, because that's the other thing. You should always kind of try to pay yourself as you go, because even if this thing keeps dropping, there's always a chance that it's not, and it's going to do exactly this. And again, this was such a quick move right back up to high a day that, as you'll see, we end up adding as close as we can. I think we get 93 on these, but we added back because we were looking for this thing to reject 21 again, because it was a quick move. Again, if this would have happened over the course of like 5 to 10 minutes, we're not interested, right? We'd actually be looking to cut the rest of our position. But since it happened so fast on a nice quick move, we're looking to add because we're looking for the trend to reverse again. And as you can see, as we follow through, it actually did come right back down, but we were letting this one play out a little bit more, just risking off 21, and she gave us a little bit more of a dump, and we ended up getting some shares out right towards VWAP. And that's part of my strategy too, is I like to try to get VWAP as often as possible. And then on other plays, you'll notice, like, let me get out of here. I tend to, like, this line right here, this was a previous resistance, right? 21. So when it went through 21, I would be looking to get at least down to this level, because like we saw on PSTV, when it goes through a key level like here, so which was resistance. Let's get rid of this line. So when it goes through a key resistance level, I always look for it to come down and test that previous resistance before continuing even higher. So if you can find the top when it goes through a resistance, the odds are it's always going to come down and test that again, unless it's a really strong stock. But it almost always happens. And most of the time you're going to get VWAP, whether VWAP keeps coming up and eventually touching it or not. But the odds are you can always kind of count on that previous resistance getting used as support. And then in some cases it'll come down, use it as support, and then eventually fall through. Again, that's the beauty of the market. So you short it regard. What if it keeps going higher? Well, that's the key. Let me run this for you real quick. Look at the bottom of it. Buy fear, sell euphoria. It's really that simple. Here, hold on one sec. Let me pull up something that might help. So, oh, that's not what I meant. This chart right here is a pretty awesome chart. I don't know if it'll make it bigger. Okay, there we go. So basically, when people were buying and buying and buying and buying, right? If it just keeps going up, this is the bottom of the move, and then you get like the FOMO and the euphoria. When you get a big move up like this, that's all it is. It's people that are like, holy crap, this thing's going to the moon. I need to get in, right? And then usually they're the people that make this push as far as it does, and then they all get dumped on. And as you can see, it's just what happens. This always happens. Even on EXEL, like eventually right here at the top, it did get dumped on, and then it went back up and it got dumped on, and then it went back up and it got dumped on, and then it went back up and it got dumped on. So the odds of this thing literally going straight up all the way, like just to say where it finished the day, of it going all the way up to 22, that's something that you just have to be able to withstand, and that's where risk management comes in. And that's where playing certain float stocks comes in. The odds of something that are like, I'm pretty sure this was like 70 or 100. It was actually 292 million. So the odds of a 292 million float stock just going straight up like out of nowhere, it's just not going to happen, right? It's the odds of that happening are just, I mean, obviously you always have to be prepared for it. But again, that's where sizing and risk management come into play. So the odds are you are just going to, if this were to keep going, if it would have shot through 21 on the same candle up to say 21, 25 or whatever, I would have been smashing it for 400 shares. I would have been in 800 shares on this trade all at once. And we would have been looking for this big dump. And that's actually how you get your biggest winners, believe it or not, building that position on big runners. And that's a part of the reason why my winners aren't as big, is because I'm only getting my initial entry most of the time. Most of my trades, I hit the top, or I'll come close to hitting the top, and then it'll keep going, and my second entry will be the top. So I don't really build a position on a lot of my trades because I'm just taking my starter positions. What I do, and here's another thing I'll show you. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. I have an Excel sheet that I made where let's take, we'll just take that one for instance. So short, say we entered at 20.50 and say we were risking off of 21 and say our max loss is 150. So our position size should have been, in this case, 300 shares, but that's if you took 300 shares at 20.50 risking off of 21. So if you break those into two smaller entries, 75, 75, and then you hit that final entry with 150, in this case, I went to 100, 100, and 200, that's, again, your risk is, your max dollar loss isn't actually going to get hit there because you're starting with a smaller position size. So you're basically taking a quarter of your overall position size. So if you want your max position size to be 400 shares, you would start with 100, and then you would add 100 and then hit 200 on the end. So that's why you'll see that my winners are a lot smaller, is because I'm only getting half my position most of the time in these trades. So hopefully that explains it. If there's any more specific questions, feel free to ask, but that's my strategy in a nutshell. And again, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of practice. There's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of, I don't think I've had one trade that was the same as the other since I started. They're all going to be different. So it's really just a lot of practice, a lot of screen time, and just kind of getting it all down. Yes, drop some likes. Give me some likes. I like the subscriptions better, but I think everybody that's here is probably already subscribed. Awesome sauce. Scanners say, hey, look at me before the rocket. Pull it up, look left, and ride it down. So true. And to be honest, one thing that B always tells us is the scanners are designed to get you to bring the chart up. The scanners are designed to be early. Like, it wants you to pull the chart up before the big move. And sure enough, as you saw, I brought this chart up and it wasn't even a screamer. And what did it do? It took off on me. So, and it had nothing to do with the scanner. It was just me. I brought it up early. I got in early, and that's why this happened. So that is what it is. I'm not going to complain about it. I feel like I managed to trade well, even after I messed up, and that was that. And it was technically a grinder that ended up getting one little flush, but look at the way this thing finished throughout the day. So I can't be mad for how it played out. What if it happened though? Wouldn't that blow up your account? Not even close. No. I think, I'll just go through and look at it real quick. I think it was this one. I don't know if it was this one or not. No. No, it can't be. It's too short. No, it was. Okay. I'm trying to there we go. So look at my unrealized, even right there. I'm at 400 shares, and I'm at pretty much what was the top of a huge move for this stock, and I'm only down $74, right? So there's absolutely no way. I mean, even if this thing went up a whole point all the way up to 22 straight from here, that would only be $400 on top of that. So it would be $474. But the odds of this thing going straight up like that and me letting, it's just, and if it did go straight up like that, bring it on. I'd be adding all along the way. But there's no way I'm going to let this consolidate and go up a whole point against me. That's just not going to happen. So that hopefully should be proof enough right there. I'm in 400 shares. I'm only down $74. And then I believe at one point I was up a pretty decent amount. I think it was after that ad right there, because we come back down. That's when I get this next fill. Hold on. Right there. So I could have got out of the total trade for over $30 right there if I wanted to, but I was really looking for this thing to get down there towards 2050, because if that thing goes down to 2050 from 77, that's another 17 cents on 200 shares, so that's another $40 pretty much. So it would have been a $70 trade. So the thing is, yeah, you might be saying it's like 1-to-1 risk per se. Like I was down $70 looking to make $70. But the thing is, the odds of me winning this are 90%. So if I'm winning $70 9 times and then only losing $70 one time, you can do the math. So that's really the principle behind it. I get everyone has their own unique style, but the strategy scares me. Yeah, and it can scare you, and I understand why it scares you, but that's also why a lot of people don't use it, because they are just scared to do it. But guess what? If you can get around being scared and it took me a while to get used to it. Like if you let me show you something one more time. since we're going pretty well here. If you look at my trades from when I first started, if we go down to like CLF, let's see. Where's it at? Here it is. So like if you look at some of my first trades, look at that. So I wish I could draw lines, but remember how I was telling you previous resistance is what I look for now? That's because I started to realize very early on that, I was hitting the tops, but I was so scared that it was just going to turn around and keep going, right? But in reality, look at VWAP's all the way down here at 1160. This previous resistance is all the way down here at 1160. So let's see what ends up happening. I think I come back to it later, maybe. Maybe I don't review it late. Okay, there. So look at what it did. It actually ended up forming a descending triangle after it came all the way down and tested it. It came down and tested VWAP and that previous resistance almost perfectly. Tried to use it as support, ended up forming a descending triangle, and then it flushed even more. So nowadays I look for these, and it's like it's like now that I try to do this a lot, I tend to get the ones that don't even come down and really touch VWAP, so they're a little bit harder to trade. But this essentially is pretty much the blueprint of what we're looking for. Big intense move on volume. Use the key area as resistance, which was $12. We got in over the whole dollar, looking for it to get back under the whole dollar. She tried to get back up there, didn't, and then she ultimately came down, tested that previous resistance, and this was, I believe, on 100 shares, so it should have been a $40, $50 trade, but it turned out to be like a $8 trade because I was scared. And it's over and over again. I did it forever just when I first started. I'm trying to think, was it this one? Yeah, it was. Okay, so this was a grinder. So we actually did get a big dump there, but that's not what I was looking for. Again, if I were to be trading this now, as you can see, it consolidated and then went high of day. That's a cut right there on this candle. As it goes high day, that's a cut. The old me, this is what I did. I would let it go. I'd look to add. It would keep going. I was scared to add here because I didn't want to add, because I was still new to the strategy. I'm like, all right, I don't really know what I'm doing kind of thing. And I was already in a trade that I shouldn't have been in anymore. And yeah, look at how big of a loss that was, $202, where it should have been, maybe like $40 if I would have cut it in here. It bites you every time when you don't follow your rules. But at that point, I didn't really have these rules. But it takes losses to get the rules going. I think this is the one that I was thinking of. Nope, this isn't it. That was another grinder. I was good at picking those grinders. But those weren't even extended moves. And that was another thing, is I was really bad at really using the scanners at that point. So here was one. That wasn't what I traded, though. Okay, so here we go. See the big extended move? We use the $50. And then here's the whipsaw. Did we cover there? Yeah, we did. And yeah, so again, let's see if we go back and review it later. Come on. Is it raining outside? So we don't go back and review it. That's a little bit of a bummer. Oh, here we go. So again, look at what we got. The top pretty much. We used that $50 break, and it was perfect. We have previous resistance here that we should have been using, but instead we were just happy to get the quick pop under 50. And we were scared that it wasn't going to do this, but it happens all the time. And now we're starting to realize that, that's part of the game plan now, is when we get these pops, we're looking for previous resistance to be used as support if it wants to continue. That's where we try to take out most of our position, and then we look for these moves lower to get more. And if she wants to use it as support, we just let it kind of go back up and see if it wants to go high of day. And technically, nowadays, if I have my position here, I'm taking out half right around this previous, either VWAP or this previous resistance, and then I'm setting my stop at high of day because I was so close to the top. It never gets the high of day. This thing ends up fading, and we could have probably would have got out somewhere in these two candles on the nice little bit of a drop down there towards 1250. So maybe Thomas. I used to be long biased, but yeah, let me catch up. So what would happen if it gets bought out in a merger at a higher price, like a way higher price? It's funny because we've had that happen, and believe it or not, let's see if we can just do like a hypothetical. Like, say this thing was getting bought out at 22, and it was at this area here, like right under 20. Well, as it's climbing, you're still going to have people, as this thing is going up, that have zero clue why it's going up. Like, they're just going to see that it's going up, and they're going to start selling. And it's going to hit a point where the move is so strong, people are going to be like, holy crap, this thing, like, not everyone trades the news, right? Not everyone's going to know this is a merger, but a lot of the people that are jumping in obviously do. But that's why I don't care about news. You trade the chart. So if you see this thing going up and up and up and up, and say it even gets to 22, at 22, all these people that bought are like, okay, it's at 22, which is the merger price. We're going to sell now. Guess what that's going to do? There's not going to be tons of shares where people are looking to buy at 22 for them people to sell into. So the price is going to come flying back down. So again, if you size in properly, you have proper risk management, you can pretty much be ready for anything. Again, nothing. I can't say it's impossible, but nothing is just going to go straight up. It's almost literally impossible. Just with human psychology, as long as you're not trading things like AMD and Apple and all them ones that are algo traded, it's not going to happen. You're always going to have people that are looking to sell that don't know that there's a merger going on. So, I mean, yes, it's a good hypothetical, but the odds are it's just not going to happen. And plus, on top of that, you usually don't get that information during the day. It's very rare. Usually it's during off hours. You're right, I'm long bias trader. I never add below my first entry. If the trade starts going my way, I add into my winner about 3-4 times. I end up getting 3-1 RR. Hey, man, keep doing you. There is nothing wrong with that strategy. Like I said, my friend Devin, that's what he does. He looks for these key support resistance areas. Like he would look for this thing to be in an uptrend, break through this previous resistance, and he would look for it to hold. Or like a little bit of a fake out underneath, because he loves looking for these little bit of a fake outs, and then he'll look for it to start climbing, like curling back up to go through there again. And that's when he likes to get in. And then he risks right off of that area. So he's like risking 5 cents usually at a max per trade. And he's looking sometimes for like 70 cents to a point. So that's him, and it works for him. But he has to take a lot more trades to get that, because there's a lot of times where it fails. So like I said earlier, it's kind of like a 55-45 type trade. It's not always going to work, but you have low risk on it, so you can do it a lot more. Tim's trading strategy is quite airtight. Multiple fail safes in place. I went a month and a half without a red day. Yes. Jonathan trades a very similar, actually it is pretty much the same strategy. It's just on a different set of stocks. He likes to trade stocks that are down on the day, that make these moves after gap downs. So it's essentially the same strategy. It's just I like looking for ones that are going high of day, just because to me, I like to think that you get bigger sell-offs, where as in I am fighting the trend of the stock, but Jonathan is, say something gaps down and then shoots up. Technically, he's still shorting into a downtrend. So he kind of have the odds going in your favor. But yeah, so it's the strategy itself, it works. It's proven. I mean, I can't show you enough on a daily basis. I don't know. I mean, this is, like I said, this is just from July 1st when I started doing it with after the month of paper trading to kind of find the holes in my game. I'm 41-3. So, I mean, that doesn't lie. I mean, show me somebody else with a strategy where in their last 44 trades, they're at 93%, only having 3 losers. I mean, and it's been like that since I started it. It's just that one big loser in MTSI was my fault. As I showed you the chart, that was my fault. That's the only reason that I'm not further along than I am. So as long as I now know how to manage those trades and not let them happen in the first place, I look to just climb from here. So you love those grinders? Yeah, I do. MMA, baby. Pow, pow. Isn't that's on tomorrow night, isn't it? I think so. A few people will inquire for CRCT. If you are interested, please email John. There you go. Let me know that Tim sent you. Thank you, Tim, for the shout out. Securing Dragster partnership at the sweet. I love them Dragsters, man. I used to actually go to Capital. If you know, actually, you're like right But yeah, you're right near Capitol. It's right off of 3, Capitol Raceway. I used to go up there and go to Test and Tune all the time. Yeah, that was a lot of fun back in my Tiburon days. How did you manage to grow your channel fast in 6 months? I want to start a channel, but it looks quite hard to get that initial attraction. But you're growing nicely. What's your secret, pal? To be completely honest, no secret. Maybe I'm just doing things right. I'm making videos that people like to watch. Maybe I'm just cute. Jonathan tells me it's the beard. Just putting out quality content. I mean, to give you a real answer, I think it's just putting out quality content, and at least what I consider to be quality content, and doing it consistently. If you notice, I upload 5 to 6 videos a week. I try to upload every day. Even when I don't trade, I try to put out a video about something. Just consistency. I've recently started trying to use Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. So I don't think I'm getting much traffic from that, but any traffic is better than no traffic. It's an avenue that I wasn't using before. And I think another big thing is kind of just, just finding that niche that you actually enjoy. Like, enjoy making your videos. If you don't enjoy doing this, it's not going to work. It's going to come through in your videos that you clearly are just kind of doing it maybe to try to get YouTube money or something, when in reality, that's the last thing that I have in mind. I'm not on YouTube to get YouTube money. I'm here to journal my trades. I'm here to grow a community that we can come here on Friday nights and talk and learn together. I am not at all trying to be the teacher. I'm just more of a host. Hopefully that makes sense, where I'm just trying to host a get-together where we can all learn together. It just so happens that, I'm the one kind of taking charge on it. So really, I think that's as detailed of as an answer I can give you. I'm not doing anything special. I will tell you, it takes a lot of effort. The editing, getting everything set up, just kind of getting into a routine of how to do everything, remembering to hit the record button every morning, just going through and editing the footage when you're done. Just the constant will to want to get better. It's not always about what it's about, a lot of it's about performing. That's why a lot of the guys who post the big numbers tend to get more subscribers, because that's what a lot of people are after in the short term. And unfortunately, I hope people kind of see through that stuff. And speaking of that, I came across this earlier. I don't know if you guys follow Guru Leaks on Twitter, but he had posted something about good old Patty Wieland. It's a 6-pack Monster Energy drink, $9.99. Check. Microphone, $50. Check. Charting software, $100. Check. Video setup, $500. Check. Plumber interrupts your live webinar while paper trading, priceless. Now, I do believe there's more to this, but I think just seeing the reactions to all this has just been absolutely great. So if you get a chance, just go through and read. But if you go to Patrick's, one sec, I'm trying to get there. So I am subscribed to Patrick, and it's more for entertainment purposes at this point. But there's a lot of people, he has almost 86,000 subscribers, where when he's posting these big numbers like this, people watch him and they tend to follow him. But, if somebody's posting these kind of numbers and they're claiming it's real money, but they're actually just paper trading, it's so much easier to be able to add to positions like this. Because look, he even has a support line drawn here, and he bought, and then he bought again as it dipped under there. Isn't the whole point of having a support line like that, and having your risk to abide by it? But he almost never does. because he doesn't want to show losers on his channel. So he just adds to his positions because he doesn't have to worry about it. But the story behind this was here. I'll just play it real quick.
Right to the moon one more time here. This stock's definitely had some volatility lately here. This is so funny. They're talking about crap. Do you see the crap? Do you hear him? Do you see the crap is what he said. All right, so market's about to open, and we're looking for this to pop pretty quickly.
Doing like quick tracking of the sewers.
So the market was about to open. He's in 2,000 shares. Here's the knock at the door. And doesn't even care. He just gets up. If you're in 2,000 shares, I believe this was RKDA.
A trader.
Oh, okay. My
Stock
nephew,
market.
he's like doing games to get paid.
Do you see the crap?
Yeah. So it's 2,000 shares, RKDA. The bell's about to ring. Gets a knock on the door. He just gets up like it doesn't even matter. Who does that? Somebody that doesn't have anything at risk. And if you notice, he tried to trade this a lot. And look at this. What risk management is this? Buy, add, looking for the big win, comes right into resistance, doesn't sell any of it, makes a huge dip down, and what's he do? Add, and look at him, no, nothing, add, and then he finally sells over here. If you're trading your real money, that you're not doing that. This is some kind of, you're cutting it somewhere on this candle, break even at best or something like that. Like his lines just absolutely make no sense. Yeah, you're not doing this with your real money. But then again, down here, I don't mind this play. Big washout, big intense move down, buying the dip, scooping it up. I mean, I don't know where this trend line really came from, but it's there. And I guess he drew it to kind of support his reason for buying. And but yeah,
What he said.
So the bell is ringing,
about to
and he
open,
just
and
gets
we're
up.
looking for this to pop pretty quickly.
Doing like quick tracking of the sewer system.
This is a trader.
Oh, okay.
And look at when it comes back. Like,
Okay, my
Stock
nephew,
market.
he's like doing
how do you get up knowing that thing could just plummet at any given time? Like, get out of here.
this Twitch thing.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
He's like play games and get paid like ridiculous.
I'll just keep his voice on just to give you nightmares. Sir Kenobi, what's up, man? How you doing? If you're working hard, you don't have to worry about success. Success is the byproduct of hard work and dedication. Couldn't have said it better, Jonathan. That's so true. So Vizzy, if you're still here, take that as some great advice. And again, don't do it for the wrong reasons. If you're doing it for YouTube fame or YouTube money, the odds are you're not going to get to that point. You're going to burn yourself out and stuff like that. The reason I can post these 5-6 videos a day is because I enjoy doing it. I thoroughly enjoy doing it. I enjoy showing up and learning with you guys. I enjoy being asked the hard questions. I enjoy being questioned about my strategy because I might be missing something. I might be missing something within my own strategy that I just don't know about. And so to hear from you guys and, maybe we can figure something out together. That's the whole point of this. It's quite obvious that he paper trades. Like, seriously, anyone that challenges me on this debate will lose. Just the heads up. You see the crap. You see the crap. The crap is you supposedly legit trading. What a bum. That's funny. I can breathe again. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Patty. He's just rubs me the wrong way. Especially, I remember loading up his video the other day just to listen to it in the background, and his intro, I was like gagging. He was talking about how he's like the best day trading channel in the world. And the thing is, it's going to bite him is when some kind of proof, I don't know if there's going to be any proof, but there's some actual proof that he paper trades right after he came out calling Ricky out. I mean, that's just going to be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Just got an email from someone that works with Richard Petty Motorsports. Yeah, hells yeah. Good old Richard Petty, the old 43. STP. I used to watch NASCAR growing up. That was kind of back when NASCAR was a thing. Now it's all just not as fun to watch anymore. All right. So I think we're all caught up on some questions. Anybody got any more questions? Vizzy, I hope I answered your question as well as I could about YouTube. again, yeah, just find your niche that you like, stick to it. It's really about consistency is what I've found. I guess speaking of that as well, where are we at? We're getting close to that 400 mark. 359. So yeah, when we get to 400, we'll be doing another ISW giveaway for a week. Hopefully we can actually start to get some people that are, genuinely, interested in actually taking advantage of that week. Cause I don't think a lot of the first 3 winners, I don't think that they necessarily understood what they were getting. To me, it's like people trying, like, speaking of Patty, giving out some trade ideas giveaway or something. Like, I don't think they understand that this is like trade ideas times 10. It's like, take trade ideas, but actually tell me when the stocks are ready to trade. Like, trade ideas, that's just going to be like alerting you. It's going to alert you down here, here. Like, it's going to be alerting you the whole way up, as well as every other freaking stock that's moving like 5-10 cents, because it doesn't have the ability to do what ISW does. ISW, it tells you when to bring the charts up, when the stocks are ready to be traded. It's not just telling you when something's moving. It's very frustrating to know that everyone, Trade Ideas was first to the scene. They are good at doing what they do, but these ISW scanners are designed to do exactly what they do. They're designed to just give you the plays. I know I went into this in detail in the video I had just released, but like this bear scam watch list, let's actually go through a couple of them. PVTL. So look at this thing. Oh, that was over there. So it had a nice up day over here. This was on the bear scan yesterday as well. And look at what it did at 9:30. Had the big up move and it came down and bam. And then today, it kind of did. There was really no volume here, so it kind of just went sideways. But right at 9:30, it did kind of move up in the after hours, so I'm sure that's what it saw. And then as it came down, so I mean that one was a little bit harder to trade just because of that's actually a lot of volume for basically just going sideways. It's kind of interesting. So it's, I mean, a lot of stocks in general, you aren't just gonna trade. So yeah, look at this one. Perfect example. SPTN had a big day yesterday. Started to form its little bit of a hangover. That's exactly what the bear scan's designed to find. And look at what it did right at the bell. Just dumped off. So this gave you, so anywhere around 1150 down to 11. So that was a nice move. CVET, same thing. Look at this. Big move yesterday, all the way from 1250 area, all the way up here to 15. And then the volume just dies in the after hours and pre-market. And look at what it does right at the open. I mean, this thing just does not fail very often. That's your top 3 right there. All worked. And these aren't in order. These are like this when the scanners start working in the pre-market. Like, these don't move. It's giving you the best ones right at the top in the morning, and then they don't move all day. Like, it just stays like this. So it's not saying, okay, this one worked the best today. As you could see, PVTL didn't work the best. And actually this one pretty much did. This gave you about a full point. Let's just go to another one. Sup V. So this one actually this one is one that you probably wouldn't have played. This kind of gapped up interestingly right before the bell. It was like some weird volume too. So this would have probably been a no play. It wouldn't have made very much sense. Yeah, at 758, it made a weird gap up like that. I mean, technically, it still worked. Because if you got in anywhere up here over 4, it did, up here at 420, it did come back down to 4. TROV, it's a low floater. This is an interesting one. Probably would have stayed away from something like this. SINT, another super low floater. This one pretty much gave everything back yesterday, so this isn't something I would have been looking at. You're not looking for necessarily ones that have the big move and then kind of give it all back. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm looking at. God dang it. I'm an idiot. Such an idiot. Yeah, Vizzy, I'm sorry. I did answer you. If you can you timestamp your, I don't know, if you can timestamp when you asked me that question. Oh, the strategy. That was back when Boytz asked it. Whenever he asked, I explained it like 5 to 10 minutes later. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually given, this is actually some good stuff. So we'll go back over these real quick. PVTL was the top one. Here, I can just do it this way. Let's scroll down here. So PVTL was the top one. I was saying that it did have a move sideways. This one kind of consolidated, didn't really make sense. SPTN, I guess I can just do it like that. So SPTM was the second one. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the big move up, as you guys heard me describe it. And then right at the bell, we got that drop off. So we were up here at 11.50, and we got a drop all the way down here towards $11. The next one was CVET. This was a really nice one, as you saw the big move up all day yesterday. On the bear scan, anywhere here in the pre-market, you get in and right at the bell just dumps off all the way from like 15 area to below 14. So that was a really nice one. SUP V. This was another one that this is the one I was saying was a little confusing because it kind of gapped up in the pre-market. But even if you did get in before the bell, she did dump down to 4. So not really much there. But again, some of these, again, when they're kind of like the hangovers, you're also looking for ones that'll kind of pop at the bell. So if you get in before the bell and it doesn't fall over and you get a nice little pop, the odds are she's so extended still from yesterday that you're looking to add into that pop and get the drop, kind of like this did. So, and I think what was the last one? SINT. I was saying how this had a big move, but it gave it all back in the same day. So it came up on the hangover list, just looking to go a little bit lower, but there's really no reason that you'd be looking to play this one. With the bear scan, can you make a video tutorial like you did for the i3 scanner? I could, but honestly, I kind of just did. It's really going to give you these same plays. The only way I could really make a video on it is if I collected a bunch of examples. But it's really going to be no different than what I'm doing right now. I can like do a couple other ones. Oops. So like VIPs. So this wasn't this one tried to hang over. What was this 9? Where's 9:30? So it actually right out of the gate, this one did do the pop and drop. So this actually would have been perfect. So it was looking for the hangover, and right at the bell, she gave you the huge pop. So this is perfect. She got all the way up to 762, and then she came all the way back down 741. So not a huge range there, but again, not all of them are going to fall right over. And if they don't fall right over, you're looking for these big pops just like this. And if you don't get the big pop, that's when you that would be the losing trade that you would manage. Especially you had previous resistance over here from yesterday. You would have been looking for that to kind of, if it started grinding up to that, looking for it to go through. And yeah, not every stop loss is going to be different. You actually, with a hangover, you're looking to, thigh slapper. I'm actually going to be doing one of those most likely tomorrow night. I'm actually going to do 7 points capital, I think, is going to be my next one. But Vizzy, it's not necessarily like you can look for key areas to have a stop loss. But the idea behind the bear scan watch list is you're looking for it to basically be a hangover. That's what this is designed to catch. It's designed to catch something that made a move up yesterday, and it kind of died off in volume, and it kind of lost its interest, so people aren't really trading it anymore. So when people realize that, it's looking for it to just dump at market open. With VIPS, obviously that wasn't the case on this one, but like if we go back to CVET, this was a perfect example. This is kind of a blueprint. Big move yesterday, and look in the after hours. It didn't really do anything in the after. I mean, it did. It came down and then it tried to go back up, and then it just was stagnant all in the pre-market this morning. And then right at the open, people realized, okay, this thing isn't getting any volume, probably not going to keep going higher, and it just dumps off. So the idea behind this is to get in pre-market looking for this to happen. And if it doesn't, the odds are, since it did get that attention yesterday, you're going to get a nice big pop at the open, and then you're looking to short into that. Usually at the previous day's high is what you're looking for. That's usually what you would look to risk off of. But again, our strategy, that's where the I3 scan strategy, the intensity strategy comes into play. If you're getting that pop all in one shot, if it goes through that resistance, you can't be scared to keep playing it. Because say, what if it just goes up to that $0.50 and uses that as resistance instead? And you might even get an even bigger pop through because it went through yesterday's high of day, which is good. You want those big moves. You need, and that's part of the strategy, is looking to add into those big pops and then looking for the big move down. So obviously in this case, this one worked, and pretty much all the examples I showed pretty much worked at the bell. Let's just check another one, just one that I would play. So let's do PPDF and PAM. PPDF. So again, this one really has had a big move yesterday. It actually gapped up a little bit in pre-market, and then it just started losing its volume throughout, and then bam, right at the bell, she dumped down. She tried to come back up, and then she dumped down. PAM. This thing really didn't have any volume. That's the other thing too, is you want it to have volume so that when it does start getting traded, it doesn't have to have like a ton of volume, but it has to have probably like 50, 100,000 shares kind of coming in the pre-market to really get some movement going. I don't trust any redheads with ponytails, so thumbs down on wire trading. Yeah, I tried to be I'm glad that Sir Kenobi kind of took charge there in the comments, because, trying to be political when it comes to those reviews. I'm not trying to be super biased. I'm trying to review the channel as a whole. And, Warrior Trading does have some good content in the past. If people are willing to get past the idea of trying to get rich quick with his current strategy, it's not viable. He went from looking like a big move like this, he'd be looking for the pullback, the 1 minute pullback. I remember this because it wasn't that long ago that I was watching his videos when I first started about a year ago. You look for that 1 minute pullback to get in to continue higher. But now he's just getting in on these big moves up because he knows that his chat room is most likely going to follow behind and push it even higher. And that's just, that strategy does not work. He's literally FOMOing into trades with hoping more FOMO comes in behind him. Buy higher, sell higher. It just doesn't, it makes zero sense. If you haven't already, post a like for Tim. He works hard for the community. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. But yeah, Sir Kenobi, he's still here, as you can see. Yeah, he took charge and kind of said what I think everybody that has a brain knows what Ross is doing at this point. I just didn't want to come out and say it because I'm not that type of channel. I don't want to, I'm not here to get views based off of calling other traders out per se. So I figured by doing the reviews, I snuck it in there as much as I could without being completely asinine about it. But yeah, I plan to kind of, if you want to get a little inside scoop with those reviews, I actually plan to go back and forth a little bit. So like I'll find a channel that I don't necessarily like, then I'll go to a channel that I do like, and then I'm going to go to a channel that I don't like. So I'm going to kind of flip-flop back and forth. So like 7 Points Capital, I really like Stan Glusman from there. It's a prop trading firm, 7 Points. and they're actually expanding. They're putting out a new office in San Diego. I kind of follow them a little bit, not for their trading per se, just a group of guys. They're a good group of guys over there. And Stan, if you message him on Twitter, he actually takes the time to get back to you. I enjoy the way that he trades. He posts his charts every day. It's something to look at, and he does really well. You guys can probably hear my Roomba. I'm sorry about that. Means it's getting late. I was actually waiting for my dad to call me. He had a crab feast tonight that he said he might get a little intoxicated, and he was going to ask me to come get him, but I guess he doesn't need me to come get him. Am I on the do not like list? You're on the when are you going to post again list. You and a couple others waiting. No, I'm just kidding. I know you've been super busy with circuit. Now you're on my we need to grab a beer list. Anybody else live in Maryland? I have a big old hangout. Where's everybody from? I'm gonna guess Kenobi's from the UK. I think he told me that at one point. Are we doing that tomorrow night? Is that when we said? We did, didn't we? Oh, you already had. Man, this week flew by. No, yeah, we're gonna grab a drink tomorrow. Have to figure out where. Yeah, UK. Jonathan, seriously, message me on Discord tomorrow at some point with when you're available at night after, let's say 8:30. 8:30. We'll do something after that. I just have to make sure the kids are asleep. Yeah, I knew where you were from, Thomas. South Louisiana. I was down there. I went to no, it wasn't Baton Rouge. It was New Orleans. I went to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was fun. Good old New Orleans. I'm a Ravens fan. Well, I'm starting to not like football as much. Starting to become a sport that doesn't appeal to me. Sit there for 3.5, 4 hours, and you watch like 13 minutes of actual play. It's getting a little ridiculous. You have a live stream around 9:30. Well, that's no bueno. Is it at your house? Because now I'm getting ideas in my head. I'll just come to you. We'll just bring beer. It'd be a lot cheaper that way too. You can have a co-host. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. 9:30. I'm checking my calendar just to make sure we're not going out during the day. Just to make sure my wife won't get mad at me if I were to come over. No. Done. It's done. I'm not even going to question it. We're not getting out of this. 2 liters of Jameson. I don't drink whiskey anymore. I drank way too much of that in a short period of time. I got whiskeyed out. I drink rum now. Only rum. I got plenty of chest on my hair. Hair on my chest. I'm getting tired, as you can tell. Hold on, let me man, I don't know why. I guess it's the lighting doing that. Let's see it. You can see it. Plenty of hair on my chest. I am Italian after all. Fucking hair everywhere. All right. Well, anybody have any questions? We'll do our little countdown. Once we're answering questions, I find a new time, but we'll make 11:30 the countdown time for questions. I'll sit here and go through. If anybody wants this Excel sheet, it's really nice. This obviously isn't right now. It's more like 250 or something like that. And this actually is where you would put like your full margin. So like this would actually be like something like 30,000. So like if at any point like you want to YOLO, you can like hit this. It'll tell you like what your position size would be for your account size, and then it'll tell you what your max loss would be if you hit it. But yeah, if anybody wants this, join the Discord. Just shoot me a message saying that you want it, and I'll send it to you. That'd be the easiest way. Any other things I'm missing? Almost a 10. Nice. I only see 6. Is that because I don't know? Let's see if I reload it. Yeah, I only see 6. And now I see 7. The sheet, the Excel sheet, it's a risk calculator. I mean, I don't think the likes or live streams really count that much towards everything. It's really the likes and the comments on the regular videos. So if any of you guys watching the engagement on the videos that I get from like Sir Kenobi and Thomas and stuff on the daily basis, that's what really helps the YouTube algorithm. I believe the initial likes and just the engagement overall. But yeah, no, I obviously appreciate the likes here on the live stream. I'm just saying, give them more often on the regular videos. Yeah, so the Excel sheet is, I have it just for long and short. If you are like a one in, one out type trader, you would basically just ignore this. Well, the like line 12 and 13, and you would just take this one. So like say you wanted to get in at $4, you're risking off of say 363, and you want your max loss to be 100. There's your share size, 270 shares. And it'll even tell you like how much real money you have invested in that stock. So say if it was $25, you're risking off of 24.30. Say it's like a big swing. You only want to lose $100, 143 shares. And you would have that much invested. Mr. K, it is, yeah. The I only see 8. You guys are crazy. Somebody get on a different account and hit it. Yeah, Mr. K, the Discord, it's not like a paid room or anything. It's just a room where it's basically what we're doing now is something that we can do every day. So if you want to join that, me and Devin are in there. I know Wolfstorm, I don't think he stopped by. It's not the same person as Jonathan. There's another guy that's been stopping in there here and there. But yeah, I always have Discord open. So, and I tell Thomas this all the time too, and Jonathan. And Jonathan knows because we play Rocket League and stuff all the time and talk via Discord. It's a great chat platform. So if you want to join that, and if you have any questions and I'm awake, feel free to ask. And if I'm not awake, I'll answer it when I wake up in the morning. But yeah, during the week too, as you'll see, I post my charts in there. Devin likes to post his watch list in there. I usually will post like the 1 or 2 stocks I'm looking at from sitting down. I always post my streams in there. I actually definitely didn't post it in there today. Got to get used to that. The Discord's still new to me, so I'm still working on that. I just noticed I didn't post my video in there from today either. I was really busy. My wife actually got off work early today, so she had picked up my oldest from daycare. And why is it doing that? So I was kind of I was thrown off because I usually do all that stuff like at the end of the day. I'm trying to get this. Does that work? Okay, it does work. All right, post that there. I'm going to post the live stream in there even though it's over at this point. But luckily for me, we aren't super huge just yet. So as we grow, it'll be a little bit better. Oops. What? The live stream views don't get you YouTube ad revenue? I think you do. Yeah, if you first off, you need to be monetized, which is 1,000 subs and 4,000 hours, I think it is. Again, I don't necessarily pay attention to this too much just because, again, it's not necessarily why I'm here. But yeah, like up here, it's been keeping track. Hours, that's what it is, 4,000 hours. So I'm at 1.4 thousand hours and 359 subs. So I would need 4,000 here and 1,000 here. And I think the live streams don't necessarily get you that much more so than the videos. Why do people stream games on YouTube then? Well, I think they earn something from it, but I don't think they earn a lot from it. And then a lot of those guys will usually post like recaps from that. And I guess when people watch them back, maybe they get some money from that too. Not too sure. Yeah, sponsorships. Technically, I'm kind of sponsored already.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Is that you again, Jonathan? One more like. I don't know how you're going to get one more like if we don't have any more viewers. It's not possible. For Jonathan's sake, I'm hoping it's possible. Somebody out there, please like my live stream. Pretty please. Please. With a cherry on top. That was like a double please. I accidentally hit the thing in my live stream. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Where did it go? Did you get it? Oh, it actually says 11 on mine now. See, Jonathan, you just have to pay for likes. Every video, I'm just gonna have you pay for likes. That's the key to. There you go, Vizzy. You asked me how YouTube works. You just need Jonathan to pay for likes. Oh, that's great. I see people with like 150k subs and they only live stream on here rather than Twitch. Yeah, I know, especially if you have a crap ton of people watching. I'm sure you do earn money. Because I was actually talking to Kevin Avery and GDT, and they say that you do get stuff from the live streams, but it's very minute. But we are on a smaller scale, like GDT on his pre-market live stream. It's usually like 20 to 30 people. And back when Kevin was doing it, he was actually getting like upwards to 50 people. And I know that he was saying that like each live stream he was getting like $4 or $5 or something like that. So, and he was only doing it for what, half hour to an hour. So I would assume if you have thousands of people watching, it's a little bit different. So I have a dislike. What? Who did it? All right, I'm going to up it to 35 because we got off on a little bit of a tangent, and it seems like people were kind of spewing out a little bit. So if anybody has any questions, it was probably Ross. Wouldn't that be something? He's just like laying in bed or something, and he just like clicks on the my live stream randomly. I always wonder, like, if when I'm doing one of these, if people tend to find their way here and they just never talk. I'm sure GDT's one of them. Dude's a spy. Everybody always asks me, I can't tell you. He's a spy. But he makes a good point every time I say that, because he's like, pretty sure if I was a spy, they wouldn't want me showing my face all the time. I was like, yeah, but that's part of it. You're such a good spy that you show your face everywhere so that people won't think that you're a spy because you're showing your face. That's pretty brilliant. And then when he gets off camera, he probably takes off a mask anyway. So 1K circuit for everyone. Say what? That's $1. Dollar make you holla. Right? No. 50. Yeah. No. That's 10 cents. Sorry. Well, it's 10 cents at the lowest it could possibly be. So like right now, it was going for 5, so it would actually be 50 cents. Boom. I don't want to necessarily hit mine because I don't know what screen it's going to come up on. Let me do this just for a second. Okay, I was right. It was on that screen. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I started with 2000 CRCT, and once you get into staking, and then if you end up buying enough to get into a master node, the rewards, they start piling up. I'll tell you that. It's been very worth it. Very excited for Circuit to buy me Lambo. What do you say, Jonathan? When can I buy Lambo? I wouldn't buy a Lambo. Oh, yeah, you get a lot more crypto. This isn't necessarily the one that I would want, but look at that thing. That's my dream car right there. Not the 177. I do really like the 177. And I'll tell you, I haven't driven in one, but everyone that, like all the people that have done reviews on them, they all say that they're just not comfortable. Like they're just not good drivers. But, I mean, this is the car I originally fell in love with, the DBS. I actually had, let me find it. I'm sure it's one of the top ones. This one right here. I had this. This was my screensaver forever. I mean, just look at that thing. It sounded like Conan there for a second. Thomas, to be completely honest, I actually would prefer it. Like if I could have like one really long curved monitors. That's the one thing, like I didn't pay a lot for my monitors. I got all 4 of these monitors are Black Friday sales. I think I paid $100 for all 4 of these each. But they were originally like 150, 160. So they weren't like, amazing monitors. But I wasn't looking for an amazing monitor, but I really feel that, when things start going, I'm going to go that route. I'd rather have like 2 49-inch ultra monitors, one on top of the other, versus the like 4 monitors like I have it now. Especially because them higher end monitors, you just get a little bit more quality as well. Like you're gonna probably have more hertz to play with. Your response time is gonna be better. The quality of the blacks will probably be better. Sir Kenobi, I'm listening. I'm jealous. How, when, where? But to be practical, if I were to like have a midlife crisis, and this isn't me, I'm a very frugal person. Like I drive a GMC Acadia for my kids, and I'm very content with it. I went through a car stage growing up, and I actually owned this car. The Chevy SS, and it was this color, this one right here. Let me tell you, this had the LS1 Corvette engine in it. It's a V8, 4-door. This thing moves, absolutely just moves. It was so much fun to drive. I love the way the rear of it looked. The front was kind of blah, but it was such a sleeper. Imagine like this sedan pulling up next to you and you're just like, pfft, and it just fucking runs I think it was a 12.7 or 12.8. But yeah, that was back before we had the kid. And then we had a kid and I realized that I needed something a little bit more practical. I thought this was practical, and it was kind of a boat. I felt like it was safe, but it just didn't have enough room in it. Wasn't what I didn't need to have that kind of speed with kids in the car. But anyways, in the same realm, the original car that I fell in love with was this guy. Let's see if I can find the picture that I had as my background for a while. It's a maroon. I wonder if I type in maroon if it'll come up. Yep, here it is right there. First one. This was my background for a long time. And that thing just looks sweet. If I were to ever buy like an older vintage car, I would want something like that. But man, the new C7s, and they're getting ready to come out with the 8. But man, these are just sexy. And now they're doing the mid-engine in the C8s. I wonder if they have any actual pictures out now. It's probably not a Stingray, but it's very like Ferrari-esque looking. Yeah, look. It's very interesting. I'd love to see one in person. I think these are going to be amazing cars. And they made them cheaper. I don't know how. They tend to do that. Trading channel talking about cars. Win Lambo. Buy cryptocurrency, win Lambo. But yeah, if I ever struck it big, I say I would want the Aston Martin, but I would probably just get the ZR1 version of one of these guys. And look at that thing, is sexy. I love it. Can I show that? Oh, I guess I am. I forgot I had my browser up over here. That is badass. Did Dilo make this? I'm assuming he did, obviously. Oh, that's so sweet. And he's going to have to redo it for the C8 when it comes out. Yeah, Corvette's always been my car. I have in my room on my dresser, I have one of each, C1 all the way up to C7. Yeah, dude, this is really sweet. I would honestly love to see this in like the car being black and like with the lettering in white. I feel like it would look so much better. I mean, it looks really good like this. Maybe change even the car color. Well, you got red here. I don't really know what would go well with that. I mean, white does look really good. I'm just more of it kind of looks like a pace car. I'd love to see this thing in black. That is awesome. I am so excited for you in this project, Jonathan. This thing is going to be awesome. Once it takes off, people start actually using. It'd be so cool to just go to the track and like you're watching this. You like buy a hot dog with circuit. Here you go. It's 1,000 circuit. Give me my hot dog. It's going to be great. All right. I went way past 35. Anybody have any other questions? I need to get some rest. I have a big live stream to be a part of tomorrow night. 9:30. I'll be there. You have to shoot me your address. Well, we can talk tomorrow. Yeah, of course. Always here, guys. Every Friday, unless something's going on. I say every Friday, and then in like 3 weeks, I am going on a cruise for a week. So I won't be trading, nor will I be doing live streams. We leave September 8th. Yes, we leave September 8th, and we come back on the 15th. Maybe the 14th, 15th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 14th. So we leave on the 8th, come back the night of the 14th. So yeah, that week I won't be trading nor doing a live stream on the 13th. But yeah, that'll be a nice little break. I feel like I need it. The kids aren't coming with us. It's just me and the wife. So that'll be really nice. And man, that looks sexy. I'm not even going to say Win Lambo anymore. I'm going to be like Win C8. Win ZR1 C8. Let me see if they even C8 ZR1. See if they actually have picture. Oh, look at the diffusers. Spoiler. That's an interesting looking spoiler. I love. Oh my God! Look at this orange. Ooh. I just think I found my new screensaver. Oh. You can definitely see why people spend some money on cars, even though they're one of the dumbest things to buy. Ugh. All right. I'm getting out of here. You too, Thomas. Thanks for coming. Thanks for getting together. That's why I like to. I want to call. I want to maybe. Well, I like Friday Night Stock Talk. I like the idea behind that. We'll keep it at that. But everyone that shows up, I hope that they know that this is really just a get together. It's not me trying to teach you guys anything. I mean, hopefully I can teach you something, but it's a group learning session. And thank you, Sir Kenobi, for showing up. Let me see if I can actually do this kind of right. I'm just gonna. I can be like, look at that ass. But, all right, guys, have a great weekend. I will see you guys on Monday. Hopefully we get some good trading in next weekend. Hopefully it starts to pick up a little bit. Odds are it's not going to. So everything that we talked about today about the summer trading, do it. Don't get the urge to trade if your edge is not there. It's that simple. And if you are trading something that's not necessarily your edge, in and out. Take your profits. So, all right, guys, have a good weekend. I will catch you guys on Monday. And that's all I got to say.